the first and foremost, the most important thing to any kind of a filmmaking is writing. So when you're writing a film, when you have no money, you have to learn to do few things. Best way to write is just write. पहले तो तुम idea stimulation ढूंढो. Once you've found an idea, once you've found some kind of a stimulation, work around it. Keep the film very personal. Try and avoid sets. Try and avoid any kind of a CG work while you're writing. Use minimal locations, like say for the French film called The Dinner Game, which was set in a room, or say lots of these very indie movies that you will see. They'll be largely set around one or two locations that can often be borrowed. So try and minimize your location. Anything that you know that you will have to spend money on, try and keep it out of the script. What often happens is when you know that you can't get away with certain thing, you work around. Mind works much more. And you will create that. Like in Iran, when they made movies with such strong laws, they've worked around the system to subvert the system, and they actually came up making better films. So think it through of an idea that, and keep it in mind that you don't have money to spend. So while writing, first thing is keep those things in mind. Avoid any kind of a thing that uses expense. For example, like in Yellow Boots, that girl in Yellow Boots, we knew we didn't have money, nobody wanted to make this film. So when we went about writing the script, we decided that we are going to only use locations that we can shoot like guerrilla style from a distance. You see the whole climax chase sequence shot on the streets is shot from hidden camera within the car. The scenes were written like that. So that we find locations where we can easily shoot characters and convey the stories without involving a lot of these heavy duty works. So almost thinking in mind that I'm going to shoot in the middle of the street with no camera. Pre-production is very important for a movie when you have no money. I'll again take examples of the movies that I have done. I've often ended up shooting in my house. Yellow Boots, a large chunk was shot in my house, using my own building people, convincing them that I'm going to use the elevator, shooting in friends' places, casting actors only who will not charge money and bring their own clothes. Go raid wardrobes of the actors who want to act. Tell them upfront there's no money. You are not going to pay them any kind of a conveyance, and probably they'll have to bring their own food and also food for others. So every time you make a film like this, we put together a team of people. Everybody has a responsibility. आज सबके लिए खाना मैं लाऊंगा, कल सबके लिए खाना दूसरा लाएगा, परसों सबके लिए खाना तीसरा लाएगा. You all are partners in it. So associate only with those. You don't need to go for stars, names. Work with lots of new, young, hungry actors. And that's the way we do it. Location wise, always keeping in mind, we shot everywhere. You shoot inside places. The film has to look big. Film should not look like you have not spent money on it. It will look big only when you are shooting in locations which are real locations. And once you shoot with a hidden camera, you're normally using a zoom lens or a 5D with hiding in the car or quietly on the streets. So you have to shoot around situations. If you see whether it's in Gulal or Dev D, you'll always see streets lit up. I've always shot around festivals, especially Diwali. The whole climax of Gulal or wherever, we go on the festival of Diwali or whichever festival or weddings, when people light up the whole street, jhalar, keep an eye open. The moment I saw streets lit up with jhalars, I said, okay, we are shooting tonight. That's how we would go about it. So our lighting is taken care of. I don't need to spend money on lighting. We go in there, we shoot, the whole street is lit up, and crowded street when the market is on, camera should be at a distance, you're quietly shooting. People didn't know that I was shooting with Kalki on the streets of Lokhandwala till after we had the 20th time we were doing the same thing. They said, what are these people doing, walking the same length again and again. By the 20th time they found out. So one thing that happens is you get real locations. Second, you have more junior artists than you can afford. People without knowing walking in and out of frame. Lights of the oncoming cars, incoming cars, they all help you. So that's the way you go about shooting. I have always found locations which are dilapidated houses that nobody cares about, and you give them little amounts of money, they'll be very happy with it. Find dilapidated houses, abandoned houses, and make your location in there. And that can also work as your office many times. So it's very important how you go about it. Putting the crew together, you have to cast people who bring their own things. Everybody should bring in their own lights, whether it's torch lights, searchlights, God knows what lights. People bring in their own batteries, somebody brings in their mics, somebody brings in something, properties, everything is collected together to make a film. You have to be honest to the film. Vis-a-vis approach to acting. Acting should be as real as possible. Try and cast people where you can avoid makeup. People who look like the characters. You don't cast a young guy and ask him to play the old man. You cast an old man. You don't have to make him look like anything. Minimize your things. Minimize your dialogues. Minimize everything. And you get the casting right. You get half your battle is won. Always finding, you have to have an eye for detail. Finding that right place, creating that right atmosphere, often without spending money. When you don't have money to fill in the sets with properties, when you don't have enough properties, colors come in handy. Use colors. Other than honesty to the film and to yourself, you have to be very dishonest to everybody around you. That's the most important thing. You have to get the film made, beg, borrow, steal. You're not cheating them, you're not harming them. In that given moment when you're making the film, they will not understand you. Whatever you do will seem to them like you're just wasting their time and money. So you have to get your film made. And if you know in your heart, honestly, that what you're doing is the right thing, then it doesn't matter if you lie to them and make them hear what they want to hear. Because once they see the film and you've made it honestly, that honesty will come through and they'll understand. And they'll probably even laugh about it. But beg, borrow, steal, con your way, often with people who are close to you, because they're the only ones who will not get very upset in the end. Example, like in the sense, suppose I have often done that, not telling the actors what we are going to do till we are doing it, because actors will often get scared, ki like, like for example, Last Into Mahakali or even Yellow Boots, we are a crew, we know we have to shoot in local trains. The money to be paid for local trains as a deposit is too much. So how do you shoot it? How do you shoot it without disrupting the atmosphere, without anyone finding out? We started at that time in Last Into Mahakali, it was the first digital camera somebody had. So I cast an actor who was working with MTV and who could steal the digital camera for the night. So after the office shut down, he would come with the DV camera. I put him in the role. I would shoot it. He would replace the camera, put it back in the same place in the morning when the office opened. Nobody ever found out how we shot it. And we hijacked the trains. Hijacking means not like with guns and weapons. We went into a compartment with our own group of friends and we blocked it for everyone. I had needed to shoot a sequence in the train in that time back there were characters smoking. So I couldn't have done it with people around. So we just blocked it. We just told everybody, people know there's a shoot going on, they often give space. And you have to do it only when the train is traveling between two stations. Because the moment you get caught, you're in jail. And you can't be harming railway property, anything. See, they take deposit because they want to protect their property. So you have that responsibility. You think you have paid the deposit and you have to get that money back. So you do it in a way where at a time when there's least traffic. So we would wake up early in the morning, catch the first train or catch the last train. That's how we would shoot in the nights. Daytime, in the afternoon when it's least crowded. But first train or the last train, it always helps. Get into a station, travel quietly all the way through to the last station, which is often Virar, while coming back shoot. You won't have to hijack because most of the times it will be empty. But if people are coming in, you just redirect them to another place. And you keep shooting quietly. We finished our shoots in the train and we got off the station. We didn't harm anything. We quietly walked away. When you know what you really want to do, many a times you will come across as somebody very unreasonable. And all I want to tell you, it's okay. It's okay to be unreasonable. You are only filmmakers who really want to do something that nobody would want to do them are unreasonable people. It helps to be unreasonable sometimes. You don't really need to understand everyone else. You have to look like that you are understanding them. Because all everybody wants to do is they want to have their own say. You let them have their say. Once they've said it, they'll be okay with it. You have to understand, not everybody understands the process of filmmaking. You know your subject well, you do. So, it's okay, you just let them, yeah, you're right. And that often works. They want to feel right. They don't need to implement it. Once they're off your back, go ahead and do exactly what you want to do. Because when it comes together, only then it will make sense to the world. Often I've made films that people didn't want me to make. And I've often said that, fine, I also know after every film that comes out, it doesn't work. I always go to people and they have always told me, you're a good filmmaker, but you are very stubborn, you make these films. I've often gone to them and said, no, I've learnt my lesson, this time I want to make a commercial film. That's all they want to hear. And once they know that you want to make a commercial film, half their defenses are down. One thing that has always worked in my favor is the end product people like. If your end product, end result is all, if it's very bad, then there's no point as it is. You'll get beaten up. What I'm talking about is all the people who make it, they do it this way, but there are 20% of people who attempt it. 80% get beaten up in the end of the day. But what's the fun of doing anything if you don't risk that? Many times in olden days when people used to make films, they used to shoot films on end bits, because when they didn't have digital, they still wanted to shoot the films. They would go to filmmakers and ask them whatever stock is left. Like reel shoot hoti hai, usme thoda sa bach jata hai. They would collect end bits, and a lot of Academy Award nominated short films have been made on end bits. End bits is a great option for films. You have to be extremely resourceful. Resourceful in the sense that you need to know what you want and you need to know how to get it. Be on very good book with the studios. Do a lot of work for kind for other people. All my life I have done a lot of free writing for people. A lot of help that I would come and do that without charging monies. So when my time came to make films, a lot of people came ahead and helped me. So you can't be, it is not a one-way street. You can't always be selfish, just expect them to do something for you and you not do something back for them. So you have to be extremely supportive, giving, in order to get. We worked with actors who didn't charge money. In Gulal, nobody charged us a fees, including Piyush Mishra for our music, to keep the cost low of the film. It was a vast film, shot over the place. By the end of it, the film cost nothing, almost nothing, because nobody charged a fees. And everybody was a partner on the film. So everybody had a share in the film. वो अलग बात है कि that share never came through, which often happens in this industry, but it's important that you convince people, and anything that you get, you first give to others. So get everybody on board, be very honest right from the beginning that I don't have money. And then, only then, those people will come in. Don't take anybody on board who seems like he's doing you a favor, because that one person could be trouble later on. You need to find studios who will do your sound design, who will do your edit. You need to get people. You need to be hanging around them. Whenever there's free time a production house that has their own editing suite, right? But they don't do so many films as often as possible. There are lots of filmmakers, producers who are extremely good people who support cinema. Go to them. He says, just tell them that I just want to use your machine to edit this small short independent film that I've made. And they would let you do it in the free time. So you don't really need to go and all that, and you don't have to be like, need a system where I have it 24 hours at my disposal. It doesn't work like that. So you have to work on the basis of other people's time. Work around them, hang around them. You'll eventually end up getting everything done. I know a filmmaker, there's a film called the Untitled Karthik Krishnan Project, made at the cost of 1 lakh. Less than a 1 lakh. Shot on every Sunday of entire year. And they would go and shoot in locations on Sundays, abandoned places. They'll shoot with actors they knew on a digital camera. And a lot of CG work was done quietly in a room on one computer, finding the right kind of guys. If you really have to do titles and things, make it look effective. Make friends with people who work in CG studios. Get a friend. Find a friend there who will in his off time come and do your work quietly. Get him excited with your passion for it. You have to understand, anybody who's creative are passionate. And when you have passion, that's the biggest currency that you have. And you'll find equally passionate people who would do that thing for you, because you do things with them and for them. And often your team keep it close, because people who are there with you in those times when you have nothing are the people who should be there with you when you are rising in life. That's how most people have often made careers and teams and made films. So all your post-production work things, identify individuals and work around them to get first the editing done. Once your editing is secured, sound design, music score, everything. And there won't be top-notch names. There'll be assistants to top-notch names. Always a good music director's arranger, catch him. He's also somebody who's dying to be independent and do his own music. He won't get chances till he actually goes out and risks it and gets this one film which might not have any money, but he'll get to showcase what he has in him. So it's often the assistants of these top-notch names, engineers and designers and people around them. I'm saying go and find an assistant who probably does engineering or programming for a Rahman or Amit Trivedi or anyone like that. Go and find a top-notch editor's assistant who's dying for a break, who's been an assistant for 3-4 years. Collect people like that. Do your post-production like that. The biggest game changer in independent cinema was a movie called Stanley Ka Dabba. Now Stanley Ka Dabba was shot on Saturdays of the entire year with the school kids after the school got over on a 5D. What Amol Gupta did was he hired a cameraman who was a very good still photographer. A still photographer who knew how to use his 5D, his focus and things were very clear. And then it was later on when it secured backing by distributors, it was transferred into a feature in terms of prints and things, and then it was projected on screens. And today that film has secured nominations in many places, which you'll come to know soon. It is important to find an audience. When you have made a film with almost no money and you want to sell it for a certain price, then you are being a fool. The way you have made it because you wanted to find an audience. Money was not the factor there. So it's important that you reach out to an audience. Today there are many digital platforms you can show the film in. And you have to understand one thing, that no one knows you. No one cares about your feelings. No one cares about what you went through making this film. All they need to know is that your film exists and it is interesting. All the story of struggle will become legends if your film works for them. Like we all know about how El Mariachi was made. We know how Robert Rodriguez funded his own film with things. But if we didn't like his film, we wouldn't have cared about it much. So first focus on getting the film seen. The easiest option is straight away put it on YouTube and spread the word around. But the thing is, okay, sometimes getting a film, and over a period of time when you see people, like there's a film called Four-Eyed Monsters put on YouTube, and it asks people, if you like this film, you have credit card bills to pay, please donate $1 each. They ended up securing all the money, all the credit back. They returned the money to the credit card issuing banks, and plus they secured a deal with the studio to make the next film. That only happened because the film was very effective. The idea was exciting. Those are the options. Those are the way to do things. And once your film is made, you have to figure out cheap ways of promoting it. Even if you put it on the net. Make viral videos. Spread it all around. Go out in the nights, paint the walls. Paint the walls. Put your own advertisement on the walls. Get your friends from art schools and things. Make your own posters. Put it everywhere. It is till the end, it's a guerrilla style. Make your own DVDs. Like in the US, the new music people, they make their own CDs. They stand outside subways and they sell it to people for very low cost that they have. If you're willing to give $10, they'll give it to you for $10. If you have 5, they'll give it to you for 5. If you have nothing, sometimes they also give it for free. They just want it to be seen. And many music composers, singers, filmmakers have been discovered like that. Joel was discovered in the subway. I'm saying just take example of those stories. It happens rarely, but you have to keep trying till you are discovered. So go out and find any which way to reach an audience. You don't have to always monetize it. Once you have an audience and people know who you are with the work that you have done, it'll be easier to get the next film made. So with the first film, it's important that people see it. If nothing, put your own film on the net everywhere, make it viral, let the whole world see it, and they start talking about it. Spam them with your film. One of the most important things is investment. All your life, when all your friends are going on dates, discotheques, nightclubs, take that money aside that gets you an entry into a nightclub and the money you're most likely to spend. Put it aside and stay at home. First thing, invest in buying your own small SLR 5D camera or a camera that gives probably the best results that you can afford to shoot a film. You have to sacrifice. You have to let go of a lot of luxuries. You might sit at home and look at other friends having fun and partying, and you might feel like, I wish I was doing that, but that's okay. The more you feel that I wish I was doing that, the more angst you will have inside, and that channelize it and put it into the film. Keep putting the money aside to do things. Now today I'm sitting in a place which is my own house, but I bought it after being 19 years in the industry. I've always put money aside. I bought movies, bought things that made movies. So you have to do that. You have to understand you are an outsider. You are a nobody. And in order to be somebody, you have to do something. To do is to be. You can't just sit back and dream about it. You have to go out and do it. And I know a lot of people who attract my attention simply because they just don't give up. They just go on, keep making short films. A lot of assistants who keep trying to attract my attention, but I only get attracted to people who keep doing work. Not with people who keep saying that they want to work with me. It doesn't interest me. So people who, you have to have something to show. And I'm not going to hire an assistant who I cannot learn from. I'm not going to hire somebody and pay him a salary and also teach him how to make a film. I don't do that. I need somebody who works and somebody who also brings in his own aesthetic or something new that I can learn from him. So it's both ways. It's never a one-way street. When you're directing a film on the sets, forget in that moment all those fantasies about being a Nolan or a Aronofsky or this one or that one, how they used to take shots. Shots are not important. What is important is the storytelling, the character, whatever your idea is more important. So if you, there's a film called Malegaon Ka Superman which we are going to release. The guy wanted to use a crane, he used a balgadi for a crane. 5 people would pull down the balgadi and put it up. People figure out a way. He wanted to use a trolley. The cameraman sat on a bicycle with a camera and the bicycle followed the actor. There are things like that. See the documentary by Faiza on Malegaon Ka Superman. It's important that you shoot your characters, your subjects in that moment. So you have to learn how to create that moment in the middle of a street or a crowd. You work with actors quietly. If you are shouting instructions across, people know something is going on, you will probably be thrown out from there. So you have to rehearse it first in the room. When you go out in the streets, it has to be coordinated quietly on the streets. You go and tell one actor what he has to do, go and tell the other actor what they have to do. Keep at a distance, shoot, get the moment. Get the moment, capture the moment. Don't try and find a great shot. And don't try and go for how to move the camera to do this or that. All that comes later. So focus first on telling the story. When you have time left, you try all your methods and angles and God knows whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter. But if there's power in your storytelling, if there's power in how you put across your thought, you really don't need many cuts. You don't need any kind of a trolley movement, track movement, crane movement, none of those. So you shoot it after a lot of rehearsals. You have worked it out. You have worked out what kind of emotions you want and then go there and shoot it and leave it to chance and let the natural interaction of people who are not part of your film be there. It will look more natural. It will not look like a low budget film. One important way to get your film out there which I have used in my life is the film festivals. You know, we unfortunately live in a country where your surname matters a lot, where it matters a lot, who's backed your film. When you're independent filmmakers, you have to get your film out to the festivals. And you have to understand the festivals first. The bigger festivals will not pick up your film if it has been to smaller festivals. Make a list of festivals. First figure out which are the indie festivals, festivals which support independent cinema, from Sundance, SXSW in the US, to Rotterdam, to probably a Tallinn. A lot of these festivals which support independent cinema. Target those festivals. First, go there. You'll often find these very low-key distributors, films that often get distributed on DVDs, some secure release on a very small way. Once you start going to these festivals, you'll keep finding your way around. And whenever you approach a festival, filling a form is one thing. You fill a form and all that is fine. But you have to understand, a festival gets many entries from all over the world. It is not physically possible for them to be able to see hell of a lot of films. I once met a guy after Black Friday was screened at Locarno from a big festival in the Cannes Film Festival, and he said, "You never showed us the film." I said, "No, but we filled the form." The thing is, that's when I realized they don't get to watch all the films because there are 5 different layers. The key selectors watch the film, only shortlisted films which have been selected by people who are working below them. If some of them has got to one person who's seen your film doesn't like it, it might not reach there. So filling a form is not enough. You fill a form, but figure out who are the people, who are the selectors, and send them mails. So you have to just make sure the festival selectors watch your film, and that's only up to you. If they like it, if they watch it only, then they'll either like it or not like it. More often than not, they don't get to see it because it gets rejected much earlier. So you have to just make sure they watch it, and that's what I started doing. I started making sure they watch it. That's all I started doing. After that, it was the film's merit. So festivals play a very important role in you reaching out there. And it's very important that they start to watch it. The way I've discovered festivals is over a period of time. My Panch went to the festivals, smaller festivals. I didn't know it was the first time it went to a festival. It went to Cinefan. Cinefan, Aruna was there. Cinefan is not there anymore. She was the one who guided me. When I went to Locarno, and from Locarno I went to IFLA, I realized the importance of festivals, and that you can only find out by meeting people who run these various festivals. So for that, starting out, I've given you names of these festivals which I didn't know then, but you have to first go to a festival to figure out how the festivals work. Festivals are interested in individual fresh voices. Best idea is